Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Film Family. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about Roland Emmerich's new film, Midway.
Yeah, so this is an easy movie to kind of understand or pinpoint because when you get a Roland Emmerich movie, you're either getting blatant patriotism or just blatant destruction. Sometimes both. Cough, cough, Independence Day. So, there is something where I walked into this movie knowing what I was going to get. I didn't want to see, a brilliant war film. And, I was pretty much exactly right. It was, this is the definition of like a mediocre movie. There's a couple parts that are worse than mediocre that I'll get to. But this is just a movie that I really feel like personally has sort of dishonored the Battle of Midway, which is a very important battle. And I don't mean that in saying like, I don't want to disrespect the movie because, the movie showed a lot of respect to the battle at the end and I appreciated that. But I just don't think any movie that calls itself a war film that uses this much CGI should be made because it just doesn't ever truly authenticize the experience. So, yeah.
Interesting.
So, you guys are going to be surprised, but I didn't like this movie. I didn't like it at all, okay? And I'm going to be honest, like, from the beginning, I feel like it's hard to mess up a war movie because, we have not necessarily fun, but we're patriotic when it comes to these types of films.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm watching it, I was trying to think, like, is there a war film that I don't like more than this?
Wait, let me stop you really quick because when we did the Halloween reviews, I said that the scary movies are the easiest movies to make. That's why there's so many bad ones because all you need to do is have jump scares. One thing. Well, war movies just need two things, at least bad ones. They need war and sentimentality. And movies like this prove why there shouldn't be that many war movies made. Because they'll take a battle that hasn't been done before, because there's plenty of them throughout human history, and they'll be like, all right, let's take that, we'll add some families, make you feel emotional, and we'll add some death. And there you go. And it's pretty disrespectful to the actual war films that are trying to show, because no film will ever truly show a war is. You don't know a war is unless you've been to it. But there are films that have certainly come closer. Even you can tell from how people who have been to war acclaim certain films. This is not going to be one of those films. This movie is Hollywood, it's polished, and it is just something that made me mad to watch.
I wouldn't even call it Hollywood, to be honest, because they didn't have a really great lineup. Like I wasn't expecting a solid performance out of them.
This is like the B cast.
It is okay.
Like,
but I was even disappointed by their performances.
Yeah.
The main pilot, Mr. Hotshot, they literally hired him because he has a square jaw and he does this.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like,
listen here, Ed Screen, who's in The Transporter We Feel, the movie we both hate.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He is, I get it, he's a handsome guy. Yeah. But here's the thing. He does one of the worst American accents I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, and the way he chewed his gum was like...
Yeah. Hey, you want Johnny on the ships? Get on the machine guns? I was like, dude, what is this accent? This is not good at all. This guy is trying so hard to put on an accent. And when he pronounces like certain vowels, I was like, he's British. Like, it's so easy to tell. And it just kind of angered me. They have some good actors. Woody Harrelson, who's a great actor. I guess he's fine. Like, he's not really important. Patrick Wilson, who I like as an actor, again, fine. But this movie is just such a mediocre.
Okay, I'm going to blame a little bit of this on Mr. Emmerich here because I really like Patrick Wilson, and I really think he's actually a solid actor. And again, Woody Harrelson, and he didn't necessarily have that big of a part, and it may be him having hair that messed with me the most. But I didn't feel that much emotion coming from Patrick Wilson. And you can see a lot, even in the scary movies that he's done, And this one, it was kind of like, it was very flat.
Yeah, I mean, I think they probably had the two best performances because they didn't ever have to really do too much. They just said their lines. It was just like it's like if you get an actor like Robert De Niro in like an average movie and he just says lines like, yeah, I mean, it's fine, It's like any bad script, it doesn't matter how good an actor is. They won't make it fantastic. So they do it fine. But everybody else on the crew were just the most cliche people, stereotype. And I was like, we're in 2019. Like, have people not gotten tired of like the World War II?
It was all one-liners.
But have people not got tired of the World War II soldier was like, I got a girl back home waiting with Johnny on the rocks at the bar. And I'm like, what is this? Like, it's just so stereotypically bad and just so average that I was like I didn't want to watch this movie while I was watching this movie.
Yeah. And I was trying to give it I think it got worse as it went on. Like I got more and more scenes. I was like, no.
Here's something that frustrated me about this film. It's called Midway, about one of the most important battles of the Pacific Campaign besides Coral Sea. But we don't get to the Midway part until the end of the film. It has a full sequence of Pearl Harbor, full sequence of Coral Sea, and I was like, well, why don't you just call the movie Pacific? Because it's the Pacific Campaign. It is not just about Midway.
In my personal opinion, I don't think they should have done the Pearl Harbor scene because it's already been done also in a film. And they didn't do it very well either.
No,
it was
not
so
very well.
bad.
That was awful.
I thought I was playing Call of Duty for a minute.
No, I thought I was playing like a 2005 Call of Duty because those were some of the worst visual effects I've seen in the past 6 years.
Yeah.
And I mean that. And I mean that like wholeheartedly. The smoke, the fire, the shadows, the textures, the gunfire, the planes, it was all so awful. And like a movie like Dunkirk, and not everybody loves Dunkirk. They used fair enough, but they went to the Dunkirk beaches, they used real planes, they used real sound design, and even whether you like the movie or not, you have to respect them trying that. For older war movies, they would do things like that. This movie has literally zero respect for the war. And at the end, it'll be like, thank you to all the veterans. And I get it, and I respect that. But at the end of the day, I just don't believe that you fully respect those veterans if you made this film as badly as you did. Because you put no effort into actually authenticizing any of it.
I agree. This could have been done way better, especially because it is such an important piece of like the Pacific theater.
Yeah,
it's just
something that frustrated me actually was I was reading about this battle in like March of this year, and I remember literally saying to myself, "Man, this is gonna make a great movie one day." When somebody, and then like two months later, I'm like, "Ooh, a trailer. Let's see what this is about." And instantly, like 5 seconds, I was like, "Nope, this movie's gonna suck." I was completely right. It's horrible. And the final battle is it's so bad. Like. I literally, all right, I'm making a confession here. I purposely went to sleep in this movie. I slept for about 20 minutes. I was not tired. I did it on purpose. And I pulled out my phone, which I never do in movies, and I started reading about Midway. And I had more entertainment reading words off of a Wikipedia page than I did watching this film with millions of dollars poured into its budget. What does that tell you? Nothing good.
It was not very good.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what you guys think.
I have more to say. I was just trying to get you in there.
Yeah, I know you were. I was just letting you guys ramble because I mean, look, this movie's not a great movie. I'm not gonna sit here and defend it, but I also, this is kind of like the dumbed down Pearl Harbor. It really is in terms of movie wise.
Dumbed down.
But yeah, even by war standards, though, Pearl Harbor is still pretty dumbed down.
Yeah, it is, but it had a budget. Like this one, I mean, if you really look at the budget, this is like half of what Pearl Harbor was.
What was the budget?
I think it was like $60 million. And so,
that
and Pearl Harbor was like
they did way too much.
132. Yeah. So they're probably working with
3 major battles. Why not just Midway? The movie could have been shortened by 40 minutes.
I totally agree.
Easily. 40 minutes. Cut out.
And I don't know where I was, but I do know like the people I was watching it with enjoyed it. Like they were clapping and all that stuff. So I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. Like I was just like, okay.
There was like 4
what am I missing?
I mean,
other
we saw
couples
Gemini
in
Man,
my
people
theater,
liked it,
and
so,
people liked it.
Yeah. I mean, you're always going to go to a movie and somebody's going to like it.
But no, it's almost like you're guilted into clapping.
But
yeah, there are parts
like,
that you...
That's the thing I hate most about this film. The fact that it would even have the audacity and the gall to come out on Veterans Day weekend.
Oh, no, it did too.
Yeah.
It's even more disrespectful.
Coming out on this extremely important holiday about people who sacrifice and risk their lives on battlefields, say, here's a movie, we support our veterans, and then give this terribly written, terribly directed, acted, terribly scripted, and effects, I don't know the verb for that, but terribly just done, look at this extremely important battle and be like, hey, you feel good, right? Here's the stats about these guys giving the Medal of Honor. Now you have to clap because you're a patriot. Yeah. And it's like, I hate movies that do it. They have no respect for the actual battle. And they know you're going to have to clap because it's like, oh, well, it's my country. Let me celebrate it. But I think those movies have almost no courage, and I really don't respect that.
Do you think this movie was not made for us though? Like it was made for.
Who's the movie made for?
I don't know.
Like
veterans? It's been number one for the
wasn't.
last 3 weeks, so it's like it obviously was made for someone. I'm just trying to defend it. I am on your side, but I'm saying, look, there was an audience for it.
I'm gonna be honest.
In
the first 10 minutes of Tropic Thunder is a better war movie. This movie is
okay. Honestly, all right, like I rewatched the movie American Sniper recently, and I used to like the movie a lot when it came out, and people hated on it. I was like, I want to see. I definitely liked it less than when I first saw it because the movie clearly is like trying to be a little sentimental, but the movie is still exponential. Like this movie is this is the worst war movie I've ever seen. I haven't even seen Pearl Harbor.
100%.
There's probably worse war movies out there. But
I don't think so. That's the thing. It's like I thought Dunkirk was as bad as it got because I was like, it's not for me.
Yeah, I get it. I like Dunkirk.
And I was like, come on.
This movie is so like extremely bad on every possible level. And the worst thing about it is how easily it knows it can get to people who are patriotic. And if you're a veteran and like this movie, I have nothing but respect for that because you liked it. I very much would bet though that very few veterans like this film because like obviously there's not a lot of people left who fought in World War II, but B, it's just not authentic. These actors, I even feel bad for, like we're hating on some of these actors, but I feel bad for them because I can see them on set behind like a green screen. He's like, all right, I need you to like feel like your life is in danger getting this plane while there's Pearl Harbor. And it's like, the guy's like, I'll do my best. But it's like, you're not going to ever do your best. Like people on the Dunkirk beaches in that movie were like, I kind of feel it. You know, I'm here.
But there was also a different director behind.
Yeah, definitely a better director.
But like you talked about that there wasn't that sentimentality in here, and I agree. I mean, I feel like they've really failed to develop a loving relationship between the men that were at war and their families back home, or even their friends together. Because like when that one guy died on the I just remembered this. I have to talk about this. When the one guy died on the boat at Pearl Harbor with the gun shooting down the planes with the fake tears in his eyes?
I felt during that scene.
Oh my goodness!
I wanted to laugh, and I hate saying it because that's extremely disrespectful to like a battle of that significance. And I was like embarrassed watching this film. But again, these are real battles. These are real people, and they have been disrespected by being covered up with VFX and just bad emotions in script. And honestly, I just don't know what more to say about it. The one thing, if I was to say one good thing about this movie, I do think 40 minutes should have been cut out, and that's a pretty hefty chunk. But I think I was interested, or I like the fact that they showed the Japanese side from them, like strategizing and then kind of understanding, trying to understand the American. But there's been better films like that, like the Cat and Mouse game, way better films on that. There's better Clone Wars episodes with these ship battles with spaceships, and I just couldn't believe that this film was just. I knew it was gonna be bad, but
I actually feel a little differently about the Japanese thing because I felt like they did it too much. Because I felt like they were trying to show the similarities, how our Navy was in disorder, and then their Navy and Army were in disorder. Like, I definitely agree they should have had the strategy and how they were trying to reposition their ships. But when it took you back to, like, Tokyo, and they had all that other stuff in there, I was like...
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying.
Taking away from the
Here's
story.
another thing I could say. Like, the movie, I guess, there's not, like, the shots aren't ever out of focus. And, like, they're pretty good looking, I guess. Yeah. Okay, a couple of them. Because you can't have good cinematography with just pouring VFX on the screen.
Are you basically just talking about the one shot where he's on the boat and it's a big...
No, that wasn't even a good shot. I'm just talking about a couple of shots in Japan. I was like, that's fine. Okay. Pretty good lighting, I guess.
Yeah. What I'm worried about is I feel like we weren't the target demographic for this movie.
Like,
I think anyone above 50 years old, like literally.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is like there have been other war movies that have come out and every generation will like them,
Yeah.
And there are war films that have stood the test of time, and then there are films...
Saving Private Ryan is still a good movie, like to this day.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? And it's about the same war.
Yeah, it's got Spielberg.
Yeah, that's a higher tier.
Let's
talk about a mid-tier. Because if let's just say there were 3 tiers.
Let's say you had that.
Hurt Locker is still better, dude.
But yeah, the Hurt Locker is different too, because it's a different war. Let's just say a World War... Like, there have been bad World War II movies, and I think they're all better than this film.
Overlord was not even real.
Overlord
it was still a better movie than this movie.
This decade has seemed to kind of fall back from, sort of like kind of the larger scale wars and just been more interested in kind of the intimate special forces kind of combats. But when you have a World War II movie this decade, like, it better be good. And Hacksaw Ridge was a great film, actually, in my opinion. But this is just...
I can tell, and I haven't looked at the demographics, I can tell what it is. It's probably older people bringing their kids and family to see this, and that's it. And that's where it made a lot.
Your kids to a war movie.
Yeah. But that's why they got like Dennis Quaid in it.
Exactly. Dennis Quaid.
What is he doing in this movie?
That's what I was thinking. It was because of that demographic.
Yeah,
100%.
He was so bad in it too. I was like, Harvey Dent.
Oh, Aaron Eckhart.
Actor in this movie.
Yeah.
The acting in this movie, besides Patrick Wilson,
yeah, they didn't have much to work with.
I like that one line. I liked one line in this movie. Sorry if this is a spoiler. I guess turn it off. But he goes, he's like, doesn't your wife know she's here? She's like, she knows the drill. And he's like, well, my wife knows the drill too, but you got to go home. And he's like, well, once this war's over, I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make it up to her. I was like, that was a sweet line. Yeah. The one good line in this entire, however many pages of the script this movie had.
Yeah. At least 120.
Probably. Yeah.
That's which is crazy.
How long was the movie?
2 hours, 18 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Which is, by the way, exactly 1 minute shorter.
I did my best trying to
fun fact.
To defend it, but I mean,
I watched Hacksaw Ridge the day before.
The worst part, especially at the battle at the end for me, is the close shots of the turret gunners because they can't act like whatsoever.
No, they can't. To their defense, they're probably in a studio, and Roland Emmerich or whoever else there's like, get in this green pod, this green screen, and go like, and it's like, unless you are an insane
and then he goes,
actor,
go.
Yeah, he's like, all right, we got the focus. Pop it. And it's like, well, this is going to be hard to act. And it's like, I have nothing more to say. This movie is, I'm going to give it just because of, I like the no matter how much, this movie, like, angered me.
Joe Jonas isn't getting away. I didn't like him in this movie either.
Who?
I didn't like the guy from One Direction in Dunkirk, and I didn't like Joe Jonas in this one. I don't know why we decided to start letting people like this in the movies.
I thought Harry Styles was fine.
But they shouldn't have done it.
At least he wasn't like,
Joe Jonas was just, or I don't know which one it is. Nick Jonas? The Joe Bros. It's one of the Joe Bros, and he was just not doing it for
All
me.
I
He was
know
too cool
is,
for
yeah,
school.
I think I like the last little piece where it's like honoring the Japanese and Americans, and it said the sea remembers its own. I was a little.
That was cool.
I respected that, because I do think this decade again seems to have fallen out of like I think a certain like respect has been given to Japanese people that has been kind of less like they've been less inclined to make films about the Pacific Theater because of the fact that I think it's something that wants to be forgotten because of the fact that America are allies with Japan, but it's history, and history should be
I'd
remembered.
be careful with that word, though. I don't know about allies. We're still there.
Well, anyway, let's not get into that. But yeah, this is a very disrespectful film. But again, I respect that it honored the veterans. But any war film can do that. So besides that, and then a couple of good shots in Japan, and I guess I like seeing some of the Japanese people kind of strategize. We get this movie 4.5.
It's higher than I thought you were gonna give it. Okay.
Yeah, I would give it a 4, to be honest, because no, don't see this.
I was thinking on the way here what I was gonna give it, and I landed on a 5, and I think that's where I'm gonna stay, just because.
So you don't like it that much more than us.
No, I was just trying to defend.
He's just trying to be nice.
I mean, it's still got on the silver screen. They're still actors and all that stuff. It's just for me.
That's what a movie has.
Yeah, I know. It's it's not easy to make a movie, and at the same time, I mean, I think. I do think we were not the demographic. I don't think this was for. I think they threw Joe Jonas or
Nick Jonas.
Was it Nick?
Is it
I
Nick?
don't know. I think it's Joe. I'm
Joe.
pretty sure it's Joe.
No, because Nick is the one that's like really famous and he has the whole.
I'm no
music
expert.
Career. Joe, bro.
I think it's Joe.
I think it's Joe.
All I know is I've been thinking this entire video, like while you guys are talking, like I'm trying to think of war movies worse than this, and I have.
I was thinking of it while I was in the movie, trying to think like, is there a movie
I've
I can
come up
compare this
empty-handed.
to? You can't.
Yeah.
I just don't think I've ever seen a war.
The
film
new
worse.
King Kong that came out, where they're flying in the Vietnam choppers on the island, is better than this movie.
They're like Overlord, like you said, was better. Jojo Rabbit, it was another fictional World War II movie better. Like, I don't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to
I'm
say.
very
If you-
curious.
if you
Yeah,
s-
let
if you
us
saw
know
this movie. Let us know if you liked it.
Yeah.
Do you think the movie is respectful? Because I don't think any movie that uses this much CGI.
Are we? Yeah, is it because we're Americans? And
No,
do you think
we
it's
should be the most proud of this movie as Americans.
Do you think
But
it
I was gonna
translates
say-
better
okay,
international
well,
because of the dialogue? And there's no dialogue, and there's
No,
like.
but
very-
here's the thing.
it's very
I'm
dumbed
sure,
down, I
I
should
was
say.
talking to somebody, and I was like, I'm sure there's plenty about European films about European conflicts. Same thing about Asian films about Asian
Yeah, yeah.
conflicts. And all those films probably do the same thing as this. Like, we're gonna put some sentimentality, and then we're gonna put some action, and that's it. But the best war films transcend that, and this isn't even like comparable in any way at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't go see this movie. If you did, let us know what you thought. Do you think it's respectful? And what's your
tried.
favorite Roland Emmerich movie?
Yeah.
I don't have one. So,
You didn't see Independence Day though, did you?
That or 2012 might be
second.
his best.
Yeah.
I like The Day After Tomorrow, but the acting was not very good in it.
Yeah.
And I remember that from being young.
I'll tell you one good movie. I like The Patriot actually with Mel Gibson.
Oh, wow.
I like that.
Oh.
movie. Yeah, he did that.
That is a really
That's a good
movie.
film.
That is a really good movie.
Yeah.
But again, it's called The Patriot. It's about
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
about
but
Gibson.
it's not like you like this and chaos.
It can't be. It's
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, if you saw this movie, let us know what you thought, and like, subscribe, and we will see you next time.